Okay, we're here with Traverse Family head football
Recording
coach,
in progress.
head football coach Justin Wilcox for our Independence Bowl press conference. We'll go ahead and take questions. Let me know in the chat if you have one. We'll get started with Jeff Ferrato. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, good morning, Justin. Can you talk about, we saw your depth chart this morning. Looks like you still got Ben Finley on the roster, Mateen Bagani, Braden Rome. Can you just talk about sort of how that process worked and how important it is that you have your backup quarterback, a scholarship guy?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, the guys that enter the transfer portal, there's not one reason. Guys got to make decisions based on what's best for them, and we talk through that. And some guys we welcome to join us for the bowl game, and are glad to have them. Other guys felt best to move on, and so I understand that, and we're glad they're with us for the bowl game.
Okay, we'll go for other first round questions and leave it to a single question on the first round, please. Let me know in the chat if you have one. We'll go to Thomas Dunn from Wright for California.
Good morning, Justin. Basically, ever since the Oregon game, we've been asking about Isaiah Ifanse's status. I was wondering what the update is on him and how close he is to going on Saturday.
Yeah, he was out there running around yesterday. He'll do the same today, and it's really a day-to-day evaluation at this point. He's working like crazy to get back out there. This means a lot to him, and we want to give him that opportunity. So it's day-to-day right now, and we'll evaluate it all the way up to the game.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go to Steve Kroner from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Morning, Justin.
Good morning.
You know, some people say a bowl game gives you impetus into the next season. And I would think, particularly for you guys, having a 3-game winning streak turn into 4, that would kind of buoy you into 2024. And some people say, you know what, once the season's over, it's a whole new season. How do you view that?
Well, I think it can be both. You know, it's finishing the season out the right way. We'd love to do our best to finish on a 4-game win streak, and I also think it does help catapult you into your winter workouts, your spring football, and it doesn't count for next year, but it sure can make a difference in the winter. And so we got to do everything we can to go out and play our best Saturday, because it certainly matters a lot to us.
Okay, others with an opening round question, please let me know in the chat. Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Ferrato. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Justin, can you give us an update on a couple other guys? Ethan Saunders, maybe McKenzie, and also Javion Thomas. Is he ready to play?
Yeah, Ethan will be out for the bowl game. Stanley joined us in practice again. And the Jet is back practicing as well.
And are you able to talk yet about the hiring of Sterling Gilbert as your quarterback's coach going forward?
Well, Kyle says no, so I can't announce the new hire yet. If you have a computer or a iPhone, you could probably figure it out, and we're excited about the staff member we're adding, and look forward to talking about him at length shortly.
And can you just talk about what Brett Johnson has been able to do this year? If starting with the fact that he's played every game, but how has he played, and what do you think about what he's achieved given what he came off of?
Yeah, missing 2 years with some, very significant injuries. Again, we've said this time and time again, not a lot of people can bounce back from that and play in every game. Brett is a incredibly tough guy, physically and mentally. He's meant a lot to our team on the field, and just what he brings off the field, the work ethic and the toughness. So just really proud of him, and I'm happy that he got to get out there and compete. I know he loves playing football. I know he loves the physical aspect of football, and it was great to see him be able to come off of 2 years and some long roads in rehab to be able to get back out there and play.
How do you think he's played?
I think he's done a good job. He obviously, is always going to find, and we would too, find room for improvement in his game. But again, to come off of those injuries, in back-to-back years, I think to do that and play in every game at the level he has, I think is really an impressive feat.
Do you expect him back on the team next year?
I do, but Brett's got decisions to make, like a lot of these guys, and there's a lot to be considered. So as of right now, there's more discussions that are going to be taking place. We're going to go through the bowl game, and ultimately we're going to support Brett in whatever he wants to do because he's given a lot to this program, and so we want to help him do whatever he wants to do next. But there's still some decisions to make there.
Last thing before I let you get off. Are you having those same conversations with a lot of your players, guys who may be, being tempted to go elsewhere or make other decisions? And how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, that's this era of college football. You got the NFL, you have transfer portal. There's just different dynamics in play, and it's we want to help support the guys and finding whatever they're looking for. At the same time, we want to make sure they're getting the best information they can get. And whether that's feedback from the NFL, there's just a lot of places in this day and age where they can get info, and we just want to make sure that it's the best information they can get.
I do have one more follow-up. I apologize, but do you think that you would not lose a player because you don't have a strong enough collective? In other words, do you think you can keep everybody who wants to be here, or is the financial part of it going to be an obstacle at some point?
That's a great question, Jeff. What I would say is this. The environment, the NIL environment is extremely competitive. And what I mean by that is there's some collectives out there or some programs out there with massive collectives. Our supporters have done a great job of bolstering our collective from everything I know. I've been out there, really every day having conversations with people, encouraging them to help support our collective. And they've done a great job, especially in the past couple weeks. And it's just part of college football in this era. And we want to be as competitive as we can possibly be. And the collective and NIL is one area that we got to continue to grow. But I do want to commend the people who have been involved and supporting us because it is a necessity in this environment.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Steve Croner from the San Francisco Chronicle.
And Justin, I think people think, when the season's over, that coaches can kind of take a breath. But I'm guessing between coaching changes, player changes, getting ready for the bowl game, getting ready for finals, you haven't had many breaths to take in the past 2.5 weeks. When will you start taking a couple of breaths?
Yeah, Steve, I don't know that there's been 2 weeks in my coaching career here at Cal that have been busier than the last two for a number of reasons, and that's good. I'm glad to be busy because being bored would not be good for the program. And so when does that happen? Well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But there's going to be recruiting that continues on. We're going to have our bowl game. We got finals going on. There's just a lot of dynamics right now with the program. But we'll have the bowl game. The guys are in finals. We'll get back. We got to finish off recruiting. It does go dead for a while there, and then but we'll still be recruiting. We'll be on the horn and talking to high schoolers and potential transfer portal guys all the way through the early part of the January, and that'll continue throughout January. So probably February. There's probably a week in February that it'll slow down just a little bit.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Michael Jorgensen with Cal Athletics.
Hi, Coach. Wanted to ask you about Cade Olave. Obviously, a lot of good things to say about him this season, but if there's something you maybe haven't said about him yet, or one thing that maybe you've learned about him since he became a starter that has allowed him to be successful, what might that be?
He's a baller.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's got that baller gene. So he finds the football to have the amount of production he's had with the limited number of starts. He's still learning. He's got to continue to learn to play the game, assignment-wise and all that. But the game, his instincts, the game comes pretty natural for Cade, and so we want to continue to build on that. And you never want to coach the instincts out of somebody. So that's one thing that we want to continue to develop in him is just assignment sound, and then let him go play and be who he is, because he can find the football and he can make plays. So I think we've all seen that.
Okay, we'll go back to Thomas Dunn with Radford, California.
Justin, you guys have played a bevy of good running backs this year, but this week is another tough task with Taj Brooks. Just what do you see from Brooks on tape that strikes some fear in you, and how much more amplified will it be just to finish plays?
Yeah, I mean, he is a very talented guy. Obviously, he's all conference. I think he was third in the country in rushing yards. He's just a very, very talented guy. The scheme they got put together around him is really good. They've ran the ball very, very well. I mean, he's, 225, 35 pounds. He's got a really strong lower half. He's hard to tackle. He can make people miss. He'll find yards after contact. And again, the system they have in place, they can kind of spread you out and create some space for him to do some things. But then again, he's broken a significant number of tackles and made guys miss. So you see why he's been so productive.
And then just to follow up on the depth chart that was released earlier, there was no listing of Taj Davis. I was wondering what his status was for the bowl game.
Yeah, there's a number of guys that have moved on, and we support those guys in their future endeavors. But if they're not on the depth chart or the roster, those guys have moved on from the program.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions for Coach? Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Rada.
Justin, what else have you found out about Texas Tech over the last week or so that maybe you didn't initially see when you began scouting them, and what's your impression of them at this point?
Good football team. They know what they're doing. Again, I said this early on. Coach McGuire's got a really good reputation in our industry, and then we know Tim, TD, and Marcel and Connery. So we have a good, we're familiar with those guys. We know they're good coaches. Offensively, our coaches have some history with some of their offensive coaches. So you really see, and some of the ways that they've adjusted, both defensively and offensively from maybe what they did a year or 2 or 3 years ago. So they do a really good job of fitting the players to their schemes, and they're a good football team. They're well coached. They're going to be ready to play. They got good players. They got, again, the linebacker, the running back, the quarterback's a talented guy. They got a twitchy interior lineman. We'll have to play really good football to win. So we need to have a really good practice today and finish off the week strong. Give ourselves the best chance on Saturday.
As we've talked about, there's a lot of attrition during this time with the transfer portal. It seems like for this game anyway, you guys have come through it okay. Are you feeling good about your roster and what you have?
Yeah, I think everybody's dealing with that. I don't know that there's a team in the country that's not affected in the bowl season with roster attrition. Maybe there's some more affected than others, I'm sure, but that's just the era we live in. And the guys are making decisions in this window of time that they have, and sometimes it's best for them to move on, and sometimes it's best for them to continue to play. And there's a lot that goes into those decisions, and I don't think they're simple and easy as some might think. That's the environment we're in. The bowl season is when it is. The bowl games are when they are, but there's guys making decisions, whether it's transferring or going to the NFL, and that those decisions happen now. So that's our era of college football. College football's changed a lot in the last few years, and there's a lot of good things about it, but there's some other things that all the programs are dealing with, trying to find their best way to navigate and maneuver it.
And of course, guys who enter the portal, presumably, or at least theoretically, are free to come back to the school they were at. Do you have any reason to think that any of the guys who are in the portal but are playing on Saturday with you might still change their mind or decide to stick around? Or?
I think everything's possible at this point, Jeff. Again, all those situations, when we talk about guys entering the transfer portal, they're handled on a case-by-case basis. It's not out of the question, but it just kind of depends on what happens from here moving forward. And those are private discussions, but it's not out of the question.
All right, thanks.